you know, is a great common denominator here in this business. Everybody uses Facebook, right? So her friends watching all this activity on Facebook about us. I shrunk, I lost 45 pounds drinking the coffee, you know, 14 of which was in the first 2 weeks. Everybody was watching this happen. You know, we got a car, and I'll show you how that works as we go a little further. We got a BMW from the company, and all these great things were happening. So her friend calls her up and says, what's going on with this coffee? And Dawn says to Dana, well, you can, after talking for a while, she says, well, you could either be my partner or you could be my customer. Now, Dana says, well, I think I'll just be your customer. Dawn says, okay, that's fine. She hangs up. Now I'm listening to this whole thing from my home office. 10 minutes go by. The phone rings. It's Dana. Her husband, Skylar, said to her after they talked at lunch break, you know, I think we can make money at this. So Dana calls back and says, my husband thinks we can make money doing this. We want to be your partner. Dawn says, that's great. Go ahead and be my partner. Dana goes on and orders $1,000 worth of coffee. It was our first $9.99 business pack we ever sold. My wife did it herself. I listened to the whole thing. I couldn't believe how she did it. I'm like, I cannot believe you just sold $1,000 worth of coffee that way. That's crazy. Because you get an alert right away on your phone when somebody buys the coffee from you. So we got the alert, and 6 days went by, and the phone rang again, and it was Dana. She goes, I sold every single box of coffee. What do I do now? And I said, buy more. So she did. And guess what? She sold the next pack the same way, the next 6 days. Then 7 days later, she was out of coffee again. 34 boxes, she sold every one at $45 and put $1,530 back in her pocket. Now, I watched what happened. Dawn and I hit diamond in the company a few months after that started because everybody followed her at that package. Does that make sense to everybody? Because when I went and did her party at her house, here's what we were able to say. Dana, how many boxes did you sell in your first week? I sold all 34. Now guess what? I was a stranger showing up at her house to her friends, but she wasn't a stranger. She knew all of her friends, and they trusted her. And when she was able to stand up and share that testimony, that she sold all those boxes in a short amount of time and got her money back, not only that, at that point she had lost about 4 pounds. She proved the product worked. She proved that it was sellable. She made her money back, and I'll tell you what, 6 people joined her that night at that party, just like what happened at my party. Now, I'm going to share with you what that means as we go along here. See, you only need 3 people in Javita because it's based on the number 3 and free, 3 people. 3 people in the company makes you a star. Now, you can get more than 3 if you want. Okay, you can put 10 like I did. You could do 6 like Dana did. You could do 100. It doesn't matter. But 3 is all you need. It makes you a star. Now you're eligible for a 2% net company sales for the rest of your life. You're in that pool for the rest of your career. I've witnessed that myself for the last 20 months. I've seen it grow from $60 to a couple of hundred. It's a nice little bonus. It's one of the ways we get paid out of about 10 different ways. But there's another way called first order bonuses. So that night at my house, I told you that 10 people got started at $4.99. Now, when people get started at $4.99, you get a $100 bonus. So if 10 people in my business got started that night at $4.99, how much did I make that night? $1,000. Okay, I made $1,000 that night. That was huge for me because I had not made $1,000 my entire first year in network marketing. I said, we just made $1,000 our first party. This is going to be crazy. 10 people signed up with us. I started chasing my wife around the house with a calculator and a clipboard. I said, honey, we're going to be rich again. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you got to see these numbers. They're going to be incredible. And I started to share with her some numbers. And I'll share those with you as we get to another portion of the presentation, which is called the residual income. I'm going to remind you of that because these numbers, if you grasp the concept of the residual income part of this, it's amazing. So all you need is the 3. Now, if they join you at $9.99, you get a $250 bonus. That's been happening to a large number of our partners right now in Javita. Now, what do you think those 3 people that you got started want to do right away? They want to become stars too, right? And as soon as they do, you get an iPad, and you make some bonus money along with that. And those 3, when you get 3 iPads in your business, you get a BMW. Now, that alone has been incredible for our company. Okay, I'll tell you why. When we first got started, there was only 2 BMWs in the whole company, Tom and myself. Tom got his in 60 days, I got mine in 90 days. And here's how it works. If he doesn't pull up and give you a free BMW, it wouldn't work that well for the company. It's an expensive car. So they give you 400 at the first level. So I remember the conversation in our house went like this. We got the notice from the company that we got eligible for a BMW bonus, and Dawn says to me, oh, I see we can get the BMW now. And I saw on TV how we could go out and lease one for $3.99 a month for a 5 Series. Is that what we're going to do? And I said, no, that's not what we're going to do. She says, well, what are we going to do? And I go, see, honey, here's the way I see it. Has any husband ever said that to their wife before? Okay. I said, here's the way I see it. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, if the company's going to give us $400 and we're going to spend $600 on a nice car anyway, the way I see it is that gives us a $1,000 budget. She goes, oh, okay. Now, guys, I didn't rest on that. I went the next morning with her to the dealer, and we signed for $110,000 750 Li. So you could pick any color, any car, any series, 3 years old or newer. The payment on that car is $943. Now that we're diamonds in the company, Stan Sherrelstein pays $800 a month for us to drive that car. It only costs me $143 a month to drive the top of the line ride on the road. So for less than my satellite TV payment, I have a wonderful car parked in my garage that I can, it's a billboard, by the way, for Javita. Because it gets a little license tag that says paid for by Javita on it, okay? And I'm going to tell you, here's what happens. I've personally witnessed hundreds of people get their car now, and I can tell you what happens in that market. It goes on fire because it's called evidence of success. As a matter of fact, guys, what I want to do at this time, I want to take a minute and I want to award somebody in this room that just became eligible for their BMW. Can I have Mr. Joe and Miriam Crespo come to the... Does anybody have a camera that they can take a nice picture and send it to me? I want to just congratulate you guys. You guys are awesome. Congratulations. Can somebody take our picture? Anybody got a great camera? You can send me a picture of this. This is a great moment.
You can always do a selfie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. How long did it take you to get your BMW?
We did it in 130 days.
130 days. Congratulations. Thanks, guys. I'll tell you, I'm so proud of you guys. I mean, that's incredible. And what's going to happen is this. Last night, Scott Mazenko's in the room here. He has a training up in Newton. If you raise your hand, Scott. Last night, Scott and Lenore got their car in 13 days, right? Scott and Lenore Mazenko, congratulations. Last night at the training in Newton, we actually awarded one of his members their BMW. And how long did it take Neil and Barbara to get theirs?
42 days.
42 days, okay? Here's what I've seen happen in these markets. We've had people do it in 6 days. We've had people do it in 120 days. We've had people do it in 10 months. It doesn't matter. There's no time limit, okay? But here's what I can tell you happens. It's called evidence of success. When I went to Boca Raton one time for a party over there, we had 7 to 10 BMWs parked out front that said paid for by Javita. People walk in and look at that. Here's what they're thinking. This company's producing some income, you know, because the cars don't come from midair. So it's really exciting, guys, and we've helped a lot of people go out there and get them. Make it your goal to make that your first level to get that done pretty quickly. So now, as you're building this team, you know, Joe and Miriam Crespo had to go out there and help a lot of people get started and build their team to make that happen. Same thing with Scott and Lenore. They had to go out there and help a lot of people to make that happen, okay? Here's the nice thing about that. As they were out there helping these people, they were getting paid what's called Team Development Infinity Bonuses every week on their Javita card every Monday. How many people in this room now love Monday by a show of hands? That's how many members are in the room. If you take a look around, because all of our members love Monday because you get an alert about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. They tell you how much money they put on your card. Now, it starts out slow like everything else, but it's like building a snowball. I know you guys have a lot of experience building snowballs this year. It gets bigger as you go, right? And here's what happened. You know, Joe and Miriam started out as associates like everybody else. Now they're supervisors. And every time somebody gets started in their business, they get paid $55. That's pretty nice. I mean, you know, at the supervisor level, you're probably putting 15, 30, 50 people in your business a month. If you do the math, it adds up fast. Now, every time I go to a market like this, everybody thanks me for coming out, and they're like, we can't believe you come all the way out here and jump on an airplane and fly out here to do this party for us guys. Can I tell you a secret? Look what diamonds get paid. It's nice. It pays for the airfare, okay? Trust me. And by the way, when you have a big business you build around the country and around the world, it adds up. We have 50 to 60 people joining our business a day now. Now, it didn't start out that way. It started out where, you know, we had one person a week, and Tom and I would talk about it and say, could you imagine if we could get 2 new members this week? Could you imagine if we could get 3? Then it was 1 a day, then it was 2 a day. When it got up to 50 a day, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Can you think it could get to 100 one day? This is crazy. But guys, I've watched people in this business do that because I have to go out there and help you build a team that's getting 1 to 2 to 3 members a week now, then 5 a day, then 10 a day. Does that make sense? And guess what? As you're out there building this team, you're getting paid for that activity, team development. Now, you don't have to do what I do. You don't have to get on an airplane and fly around the country, because I know some people are looking at this saying, I'm busy in my daily life. I don't have any more time for anything in my life. Is anybody here in that situation? Be honest. Okay, thank you for that. Here's why. If you're already busy in life, don't worry about it. That's why I'm here doing it full-time. Joe's doing it full-time. Scott's doing it full-time. And we've got a lot of full-time people in Javita because we know the effort that you put in, you're going to get matched. It will help people that don't put it in the cracks of their schedule. And by the way, if you can just say weight loss coffee, can anybody here just, you can say that, right? Weight loss coffee. I say it wherever I go. In fact, my son Logan and I, he's now 9 years old. Him and I, one day about a year ago, I said, Logan, go in Daddy's closet and get a bag and put 5 boxes of Javita coffee in the bag. He says, why, Daddy? I said, we're going to go out, we're going to sell some coffee. He says, all right, how are we going to do it? I said, I don't know, we're going to find total strangers. And I want you to time me and see how fast it takes me to sell 5 boxes of coffee. So we go to the gas station to fill up the car, not even to sell coffee, and I'm standing there at the pump, and a guy walks out with a Monster Energy drink in his hand, and he's getting in a construction vehicle right next to him. Now, fortunately, I speak contractor, because I used to be one, okay? And I say to them, I'm not afraid to speak to him, I go, do you know that stuff's really bad for you? And he says, yeah, I know, but I can't stop drinking it. I said, well, I have something that'll help you. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, listen, I had the same problem. I used to be in construction. I drank tons of those to keep going, but I found this coffee, and it's called Javita, and it gives you a tremendous long-term energy burn, longer than that drink does. And one of the side effects is you lose weight. I lost like 14 pounds in 2 weeks. He says, no way. He says, do you have any on you right now? I said, yeah, just so happens I have a box right here. I pulled it out of the car. He says, how much? I go, 45. He goes, here's 50, keep the change. I put it in my pocket. And by the way, I kept the change. And he says, if this stuff works, I'm in. And I go, what do you mean you're in? He goes, well, there's got to be a business attached to it, right? My mom does stuff like this. And I said, yeah, you're right. You're pretty sharp. There's a business. He says, if it works, I'm in. I said, okay, great. Give me your card. I took one of his cards, gave him one of mine. A couple days go by, and I hadn't heard from him, so I pick up the phone and call him. Guess what he said to me? Thank God you called. I lost your card. I said, oh, okay, good. How's the coffee treating you? He goes, this stuff's unbelievable, man. I said, I know. He says, I haven't had one of those energy drinks since I got started on this stuff. Where do I come sign up? I gave him my address. He came that night, and he called 3 people from Ohio and signed up 3 members that night from Ohio from my living room. Went a star that night. So guys, here's why I share that story with you. The rest of those boxes of coffee, we sold all 5 in 29 minutes to complete strangers, just going about my daily routine at the post office and then at the Chick-fil-A. That's how it went, okay? And by the way, that guy that joined us turned into a whole team. So if you are already busy in your life and you can just fit the words Javita into your daily routine or weight loss coffee into your daily routine, it'll grow. And I'll show you something. Let's just say that you get 3 people to join you in a couple of months if you're already busy and you're just busy, okay? Don't do like I did. Don't get 10 right away. Just get 3 in a couple of months, right? And those 3 do the same thing to get 9, and those 9 get their 3, and then you have 27, and 27 times 3 is 81. Let's stop right there at 81 for 1 minute. Because I've had people in my business that have gotten 81 members within 1 year, and their income is $13,000 plus. I have one lady named Stephanie in Bradenton who got 81 members. Her 1099 last year was $25,000. Because that's called residual income. See, when I started chasing Dawn around the house with that clipboard and that pen and that calculator, finally got her to sit down. I go, honey, sit down for 1 minute. These numbers are going to blow your mind. She says, okay. She sits down. I said, do you see that we just got 10 people started with us in 24 hours? She says, yeah. I said, you don't understand. That doesn't happen in this industry. This is incredible. If I can teach those people to have a party and just get 2 of their own in the next month, I go, that's going to be 20 or 30 new people we have to work with right away. And what if they do the same thing? I said, we could have as many as 1,000 people in 1 year. She goes, oh my gosh. I said, yeah, well, I underestimated. We had 5,000 people in 1 year. It went that quick, okay? But let's just say, and here's what I shared with her that night. I go, 1,000 people in 1 year. What do they all do when they wake up in the morning? They drink coffee. And I said, it's going to be Javita coffee. How many do we drink in our own house? Do your numbers in your own head, but in our own house, we were drinking 8 cups a day between me, my wife, and the kids, okay? I said, what if the average member drank half that, drank 4 a day times 1,000 members? How many is that a day? That's 4,000 cups a day, right? Has anybody ever missed a day of drinking coffee?
No.
No, so it's safe to say that's 30 days in a month. That's 120,000 cups of coffee a month, and I didn't have to own a McDonald's, I didn't have to own a Starbucks, I didn't have to put out all that money and have employees and overhead, right? Insurance, all that crazy stuff. Those numbers held true. If 120,000 people, 120,000 cups of coffee a month times $1.50 a cup, that's the average price point. That's $180,000 a month gross. And my wife's like, oh my God, we're gonna make $180,000 a month. I'm like, no, the company has to keep some of that. But we're gonna make 4 to 5% of it, and we stop showing that math at 10 levels because it gets crazy. And that's the reality of it, guys. That's why when you have 81 people drinking your coffee with those numbers, it's 13,000 in residual income. Does everybody understand that math? See, residual income, here's why I don't do construction anymore. I loved it, but here's what I knew. I was only as good as my last job, and my next job was not guaranteed. If something happened to me, my wife and kids could not take the keys to my backhoes and go out there and start making money in that business. If something happens to me today, God forbid, I got a paycheck that's never going to stop. Because we've got lots of people, 12,000 members now from those original 10 in my living room 20 months ago drinking our coffee. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
And guess what? Those people that joined us as members, those 12,000 people, they all have their own customers. And guess what? Those customers are losing weight and they're out there talking about it. When you have 12,000 people talking about weight loss coffee, guess what? It goes pretty quick. But guys, it's not going to start that way overnight. You got to start it. You got to get it started yourself, okay? You got to start from somewhere like that snowball. You got to start rolling it. Now that's what I'm going to show you next is, you know, some testimonies. We have some people that I want to bring to the front of the room, and I can't remember who they were. Joe, if you could help me.
Gene Calvetto.
Yeah, Gene.
Miriam.
Miriam. And there was one other.
Fred. Fred Nate Drinker.
Fred, come on up to the front if you would and share your Javita story. I'd appreciate that.
Jillian.
Give a round of applause.
Jillian.
I'm Fred Nature, and I'm from Freehold, New Jersey. I've been a Javita member for 2 weeks now. I became a star in 7 days, sold 34 boxes of coffee, and ordered another 20, and selling them as quickly as we possibly can. Weight loss, I lost about 2 pounds, but more importantly, I'm tightening up my belt.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
My name is Jean Calvetto. I'm a realtor in Monmouth and Ocean County, and the reason I'm here tonight was not for a business. I actually got started to lose the weight. Joe is a very dear friend of mine, and he knew about a condition that I had. I actually had a tumor in my head, and my doctor told me to start losing weight. So what I found was, when I was talking to people, I was actually selling the coffee as I was talking about it, and I ran out of coffee, and I realized that I didn't have migraines while I was drinking the coffee, which was what I had with the tumor, and realized I better get back on the coffee, so I ordered some more coffee. But what I did find a couple of weeks after that was I went back to the doctor for another visit, and they told me the tumor had shrunk, and it was because of the one herb in the Burn and Control, which had really helped me. So for me, I will never stop drinking it. So thank you.
I'm Miriam, Joe's wife. I actually started drinking the coffee before my husband, a couple weeks before him. I was reading, I didn't want to share. So I lost 6 pounds in the first week in 7 days. And since then, it's a total of about 15 pounds, but I've lost several inches across my back. And I'm going through menopause, so one of the best things for me wasn't even the weight loss, the hot flashes stopped.
Oh,
So
hallelujah.
that
Hi.
I'm telling you, I was like, woo!
My name is Jillian. I live in Brick, and about almost 2 weeks ago, my husband came home with a box of Javita, and he's like, just try it, just try it. I try every diet. I've always dieted. I've always been overweight, and it's just miserable. But anyway, I lost 8 pounds in the first 10 days.
Oh.
And the weight loss is slowing down, but my clothes are fitting so much better, and I'm just starting to feel comfortable, and I'm almost excited for summer this year, which sounds weird to say that out loud.
I Thank you guys for sharing that, by the way. Thank you so much. I've been traveling this great country for about a year now, hearing these stories. And Miriam, I got to tell you, I've heard that one about 24 times. And I started hearing these themes develop. You know, people would come up to me and whisper in my ear, did you ever hear that the menopause symptoms were going away? I'm like, no, I haven't heard that one. Then I go to Virginia, I hear the same thing. Then I go to California, I hear 3 people tell me. Started hearing that about migraine headaches. I started hearing it about ADHD, children that have ADHD. Their grades had gone up dramatically and they got off medication. There were so many things that I had started to hear about our coffee. In fact, if you go to javita.tv, just www.javita.tv, there's a lot of testimonies there that you can actually look at for yourself. So, guys, that being said, I know there's some guests in the room tonight. How do you know you're a guest? You don't have a Javita debit card in your pocket yet? Could you raise your hand if you're a guest? Joe has something he wants to put in your hands real quick. There's a $100 bill in the back of one of these clipboards, so raise your hand high. I'm just kidding about the $100 bill. But I saw a lot of hands going way high. That was great. I'm going to do that every time. Guys, what this is a membership agreement or a customer agreement. If you see it as a member, congratulations. If you see it as a customer, congratulations. I see some people are filling them out already. That's amazing. Now, here's what I can tell you. You might have some questions if you do. Did everybody get one, by the way? Anybody else need one? Right there. Okay. Anybody else didn't get one? Over here, Joe. We have one more up front over here. Comment. Anybody else didn't get one? Okay. So if you see something here for yourself that agrees with you, we're going to help you get started tonight as a customer or as a member. If you have questions, that's only normal. We understand that you might have some questions, okay? We're going to help you get started, and we'll answer your questions on an individual basis. 2 more minutes and I'm done. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to get into what's called Prepare, Share, Party training, which is how you build a Javita business, okay? So if you want to stay for that part of the training, great. Would love to help you, and if you're getting started, you want to stick around for that. Now, just real quickly, guys, momentum is incredible. When I got started, again, the company was doing about $60,000 a month. That was it, with 400 members. I watched it hit the $1 million mark after 2 years. We're going to watch this hit 5 million. We're only at about 3 million a month right now. What does that mean? When we hit 5 million, companies like this go vertical. I speak to Stan Sharrelstein on a daily basis, and him and I share a lot of information together, and he's told me he's built billion-dollar companies. Here's what he knows. When they hit 5 million a month, they go vertical, they hit critical mass. We haven't gotten there yet, guys, but take a look around this room. We had a similar size room in Newton last night. This is Javita, New Jersey. There's nothing else happening in New Jersey. Am I correct with that? Yeah. You guys are Javita, New Jersey. I watched this start in California from a seed 20 months ago. There's $1 million a month worth of coffee being sold out of California right now. And some people override that. People that sat in a room like this in the beginning override that activity. So if you want that to be you and your family, take part in this. Let's get you started tonight, and I can help you do that. All right, guys, Facebook is huge. If you put this on your Facebook page, I just started drinking weight loss coffee and it tastes delicious. I've seen people put this post on their page the night they got started. Before they even left the hotel, they had members and customers. And that's the truth. So that being said, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break. Help you guys get started if you see this for yourselves, and then we're going to jump right into Prepare, Share, Party training. Thank you, guys. I'll be right around.